thing. The profits are going to charity each month. This month we're supporting who supports children and young people after the death of a parent or a sibling. It's a great charity. Thank you guys. And as always, PP out. I'm getting profits.
In a world where science knows no boundaries, travel to a land where no tuber has been and explore never-before-seen landscapes. Encounter beings that are extinct. Meet Mayan Edgar's ancestors. Collect ancient items. Rediscover your favorite scientifically accurate dinos. What will you create?
And now, gang, we'll find out who was really behind the hauntings at YouTube headquarters.
Markiplier?
Wait, gang, I think this is another mask.
Lily Pons?
Yeah, no, big no there. Let me rip this off.
PewDiePie?
Hold on.
Mr. Beast?
Jinkies, how many of these things are there? All right, I think this is the last one. The real person behind the hauntings at YouTube HQ was...
YouTube sensation Will Smith?
Liked, commented, and imprisoned. Wait, where's that laughter coming from? Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show inspired by Velma's incredible ability to rationalize any supernatural event.
The simple fact is, monsters are nothing more than crooks and masks, usually unscrupulous real estate developers.
So, just over a year ago, I did my first episode on Scooby-Doo, in which I tried to calculate Shaggy's power level and whether Ultra Instinct Shaggy was actually some sort of Super Saiyan. Remember that meme that lasted like, a week? Good times. Anyway, my research for that episode, I watched an entire generation's worth of new Scooby-Doo episodes. Not just the original Scooby-Doo Where Are You, not just What's New Scooby-Doo, or heck, not even just the new Scooby-Doo movies, but all of the Scooby-Doo generations. Let me reiterate that, all the generations. And that, my friends, is no small feat. Scooby-Doo is a 14-series, 36-movie canon spreading 51 years. Woo! Muppet's starting to lose his mind. And boy, was that crash course through half a century's worth of cartoon canon a wake-up call for me. For years, I just assumed that Shaggy, Scooby, and the gang were living out the same Sisyphean nightmare all that time, driving from town to town in a barely functional van, forced to solve spooky mysteries that always amounts to some guy in a really convincing rubber mask with way too much special effects technology on his hands. And what does the gang get for all their hard work? Nothing. Maybe a sandwich if they're lucky. Well, except for that one time that Scooby got himself a chest full of Confederate money. Fred and Daphne are in a will-they-won't-they relationship. Shaggy's romantic interests fluctuate between Velma and Scooby as dog. Insert wacky guest star here.
Sorry, Batman, they run off sometimes.
Play is a natural response to the unknown. Can we help you kids out?
And I wasn't entirely wrong, but as I was binging through this franchise, I was shocked to learn that across those 51 years, those 14 series, and those 36 spin-off movies, that there's actually a complex Scooby-Doo lore here. No joke, long before the MCU, there was the SDU. It might be easy to assume that each iteration of Scooby-Doo is completely separate from all the ones that came before it, because, it's just a cartoon, right? Who's putting in that much effort? But in reality, the teams behind these shows appear to be taking a lot of care with the long history of this series. So much so that the entire franchise, movies and all, can basically be boiled down into two self-consistent timelines. Well, 2.5 if we're being completely accurate. At least that's my theory today anyway. So with the new film entry coming out later this week looking to set up a prequel story that I guarantee will burn this theory to the ground, I guess our new movie is an origin story. Let me at least get the video out now before it completely throws off all my research. So before we start throwing things in timelines, let me lay out the major pieces. First and most importantly, let's get the big one out of the way. Scooby-Doo is an alien, period, end of sentence. That is 100% canonical fact. That isn't me even overreaching in the slightest. In the recent series Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which is shockingly lore-heavy for a Scooby show, we learn about the Anunnaki, an ancient godlike alien race that comes to Earth every few thousand years. The Anunnaki have no physical form, so they're forced to possess animal bodies.
The Anunnaki have a great history of helping humans, but we have no physical form and must inhabit animals. This is why some animals, our descendants, can talk and others cannot.
So if we happen to know any animals in this series that are capable of talking or being understood by humans, well, we can reasonably assume that that individual is an alien descendant. That's why Scooby-Doo can talk. He's got himself dem alien genes.
The heart is us. It's always been us.
It also explains one of his iconic catchphrases. So that's big reveal number one about this series' lore, and we are just getting started. The Mystery Incorporated series also introduces us to the canonized concept of a Scooby multiverse. In the final episode of this particularly interesting run, Scooby and his friends help defeat an evil Anunnaki who's been trapped on Earth. To try and escape, this force has been assembling and manipulating mystery teams throughout the ages to try and get released, with the Scooby Gang being his most recent group of kids. Once this evil entity gets destroyed, however, Scooby's entire world gets destroyed along with it, launching the main mystery gang into a brand new existence. Their same hometown of Crystal Cove, but with everything slightly different. Shaggy is no longer a slacker, but rather a top chef. Velma is a champion academic, but perhaps most shocking of all, Fred and Daphne are engaged.
I know why everything's different. We destroyed the entity, and by destroying it, it was as if it never existed. By destroying the evil entity, we created an entirely different timeline.
Our actions created a better world where we all have normal and productive lives.
So that off the bat gets us into two separate timelines. Same Scooby Gang carried out across two branches of the multiverse. The next big issue that we need to talk about are the monsters themselves. The vast majority of the shows recycle the same twist. There were no ghosts. Man was the real monster all along.
The guy would have gotten away with it.
That was the formula for decades, for the TV show at least. And yet, for some strange reason, most of the movies, like 1987 Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers, and most of the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies, like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, all have the gang encountering real-life supernatural creatures. A very select few of the series had this as well, like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, the Scooby and Scrappy Show, and Mystery Incorporated, where again, the ghosts and boogeymen are actually real supernatural creatures. When I first encountered these outliers, I was just happy to write them off as taking place in a totally different universe. In one universe, ghosts are fake. The mystery gang always pulls off a mask and everyone's happy. In the other, ghosts are a real threat, and we should all be terrified by the retribution that the undead shall deliver unto us. Here's where things get weird though. In many of the ghosts are real iterations, Shaggy wears a red shirt. Red. Different shirt, different universe, obviously. Okay, now that might seem like an exaggeration, and normally it would be, but there's actually more to Shaggy's wardrobe changes than meets the eye. You see, in the 2001 direct-to-DVD movie Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, the Scooby Gang goes into a Scooby-based video game world complete with digital doppelgangers. episodes. And what does Shaggy's digital form look like? Red shirt. Big deal, right? It's just a physical color swap to differentiate him from the real Shaggy. Except that's not the case. Look closer and you start to see that the shirt isn't the only thing different about Shaggy's digital form. His eyes are also different. And not just different, they're the exact match for how they were drawn during those 80s era Scrappy-centric Scooby-Doo episodes. So, could all of the ghosts and ghoulies from Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts and Scooby and the Scrappy Show episodes have taken
Tools of war surround me.
era scratch. They're these digital case. Look closer and you start to see that the shirt isn't the only thing different about Shaggy's digital form. His eyes are also different. And not just different, they're the exact match for how they were drawn during those 80s era Scrappy-centric Scooby-Doo episodes. So, could all of the ghosts and ghoulies from Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts and Scooby and the Scrappy Show episodes have taken place in a digital simulation? To know for sure, we have to start putting this whole thing together. The first thing that happens chronologically is the birth of Scooby-Doo in 1969. This is according to a fake document that Velma uses to claim Scooby as a service dog in the movie Legend of the Phantasm.
This might be a bad idea.
Which, funny enough, was the same movie where Ultra Instinct Shaggy got his origins. So, across the board, probably the single most important piece of Scooby-Doo related media to ever come out in half a century. I can't tell if I'm exaggerating that or not. The rest of the gang was probably born around the same time. Because of Scooby's Anunnaki heritage, he actually ages at a speed closer to that of a normal human. So roughly 10 years after being born, he's still very much a puppy for the events of the first series chronologically, and the 9th overall series in the franchise to be launched, a pup named Scooby-Doo, along with the movie that was set in the same time period, The Mystery Map. In the first episode of the series, we see the gang already together and solving mysteries in their hometown of Coolsville, USA, under the name the Scooby-Doo Detective Agency. This series directly leads into the original series, Scooby-Doo Where Are You?, and its many follow-ups. The new Scooby-Doo movies, where they hang out with celebrities, before eventually winding up with the Scooby-Doo show. And with that, we come to the darkest period, Scrappy-Doo. Scooby's nephew, who was deemed by censors as, quote, too independent, which apparently is a bad thing to teach kids. Well, at the time, he was popular enough to help prevent the Scooby franchise from being canceled. Since then, he's become the single most hated television sidekick of all time. Even the single most hated television sidekick of all time. Even the creators of Scooby-Doo themselves.
No, I am not making this up as I go.